Hi everyone. So I had a lot of questions about this and people were asking me if I would make a quick video. So for those that don't know me, my name is Rachel. I'm the one that created the End of Recycling Teaching Ideas website and drills and this group that you guys are part of. So something that keeps getting brought up, and probably because I posted about a video that was driving me nuts, is I cannot stand to see when we do a measurement of the saddle setback with our forearms. And the reason is because it actually has nothing to do with that measurement. It can be used as a quick adjustment, but we need to make sure that we are doing this correctly. So the saddle setback is actually a really important measurement and should always be done after you guys have done your saddle height. It's the next thing that you want to do. So why is the saddle setback important? I'll just read it to you, but this is also obviously my work, because it places you guys really in a biomechanical advantage or a safe position. So when you're doing this, you're actually reducing injuries by quite a bit. And then it's going to allow you and your riders to get the most bang for your buck, right? Because if you're in the right space, those muscles are going to be ready to work. But if the knee's too far forward or the knee's too far back, you're not going to be able to use the quads and the hamstrings and the glutes like they were meant to be used. So you're not going to be getting the power, you're not going to be getting the strength or the endurance, and it's going to lead you into injuries. So this is why it's important. It's also really important to make sure that you have gears on those bikes, because if you're riding without any gears, you're not allowing your muscles to do what they want, and they want to work against that resistance. That's how they get stronger. So make sure that you do this measurement after. The second thing to remember is that this actually doesn't take a lot of time. Once you understand and you can see these joint angles, what I do is I actually get my riders to just be on their bike while they're talking to their neighbors, and I ask them to spin or just start pedaling at a lighter gear, and I just walk around the room. And if I notice that one of the joint angles is out of place, I go up to the rider and I do a quick adjustment, which takes me seconds. I let them know where their new number is. I always ask them if it's okay if I correct them. If you get some hesitation, just ask what their goal of their ride is. And if they're saying, well, I'd like to develop more power or burn more calories, just let them know that if I set you up in that right position, you're going to be able to accomplish that. So generally people do want the help. They just sometimes don't know that they need the help because maybe they've never been set up properly on the bike and they're coming to your class even though they've been spinning for 10 years, but you're a new instructor to them and they just don't know. So our job is to help them. Our job is to keep them safe. So should we use the forearm? Absolutely not. We want to make sure that we're using a plumb line instead. So I do apologize. Sometimes I get a little bit aggressive because I get frustrated because I'm so passionate about education and content and making sure that we're keeping our riders safe. And I know thanks to social media, sometimes us who are really trying to do a good job, we just get frustrated because we don't have those million followers because we're not doing the razzle and dazzle. But hold strong to what you're doing because you're creating longevity for your riders. And at the end of the day, that is the most important piece, creating longevity for your riders. So what the saddle setback does is it just really measures how far back your hips are in relation to that crank arm or that crank rotation. And it's, again, very important for the activation of your glutes, your hamstrings, your calves, your quads. Those muscles need to fire and they need to be making sure that they're in the right position. So just like if you were doing a deadlift and you weren't actually in a proper hinge, you're not going to be activating those hamstrings and the glutes like you could be if you were in the right position. The same goes for those saddle setbacks. So think about them like a deadlift or a squat. So what you want to do is you want to use a plumb line. All you have to do is take a string. I usually just use some kind of screw or some kind of something that's weighted on each end. And then all you have to do is there's a little bump below your patella on your knee. It's called your tibial tuberosity. So what you do, if you look right here, you just place the top of that string there, and that string is actually going to fall. You can use a chain. I think spinning actually probably has their own gear for this, but you could use a keychain attached to a string. You don't have to buy anything fancy, and all you have to do is just see that measurement. Now, you don't even need a plumb line as an instructor if you start to see this measurement all the time, because you'll see it with your eyes. You'll be able to see that joint angle pretty quickly, and you'll notice with time and with experience what it should look like so that you can keep the rider in the right place. So what you want to do is you want that plumb line to fall down, and it's going to go right over top of those metatarsal heads, or kind of where the shoes strap up, right over top of where the pedals click in. That's where you want that plumb line to fall, because that's going to put them in a biomechanical position. If you can hear snoring, that is my bulldog in the background having a moment, just in case anybody's wondering. I don't know if you can actually hear, but anyways, it's late at night, but I really just wanted to do this video. So one of the benefits, it maximizes the flexors and extensors, and then it optimizes that knee tracking as well, right? So it's really going to minimize any patellar contact with that femur, again, reducing injury. Our job is to let them have an incredible ride and have fun with you and, enjoy your music. And so they come back for a long time. Again, longevity is our goal. So if they're always being set up properly, that is our job. And then they're going to come back to your class time and time again, because you're the trusted expert, you're the trusted leader, that they know that they're well taken care of. So here's the problem. If you don't do this measurement and you're not watching for this, if their seat is too far forward, it can actually cause a lot of damage. Because if you think of spinning, it's a high repetition sport. You are producing a lot of revolutions per minute throughout a 60-minute class, right? Think how many times your pedals rotate. If you are in a poor position, you are not helping out your riders at all. So if it's too far forward, you're going to damage that patella, you're going to damage that anterior cruciate ligament, you could stress out their meniscus. We want to avoid that. As somebody who had to have meniscus surgery from my marathon days, not from spinning, this measurement is a big one for me, because it allows me to ride properly without causing any extra damage to the meniscus that I don't really have a lot of. They said do marathons, didn't they? Don't do them. Anyways, that's a different story. I do love my running. If it's too far back, you're going to start aggravating that popliteal space. That's like that. You can get like those sacs where it fills up with fluid in the back of their knees. That is not a good thing either, because that means the saddle is too far back. It's going to be aggravating that area. There's also a really important ligament called your posterior cruciate ligament. It's going to irritate that area as well. So again, high repetitive movement in the wrong position is dangerous. So when I post those videos, I am not publicly shaming instructors. That is not my goal. My goal is to highlight things that are dangerous. And high repetitive sports like spinning, it can be very dangerous. And if people are spinning 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, and they don't have the right gears on, and they don't have the right bike setup done, this can be dangerous. So we want our riders to come back over and over again. So under high speeds and repetitive stress, poor bike setup can actually be quite dangerous. So that is just kind of where I wanted to lead you on. So this is the joint angle that you were looking for. So you have your knee here, you have that tibial tuberosity here, you have this line of sight. You can do this with just a line, but I just get a plumb line to start practicing. If you were not taught this in your certification courses, this is not your fault. All your job is now is to, when we know better, do better. Your job now is to be like, you know what? I actually never had learned that skill set. So I'm going to add this skill set to my toolbox, and I'm going to make sure that my riders are set up properly because it's important to me. And that's it. So keep this simple. So just a little quick review here. So your maximum knee angle, this isn't again putting your hands at the top of their hips. This is making sure that this angle looks like this when they're bike fitting. So about 145 degrees, that's where their maximum knee angle. Now if their maximum knee angle is in that right place, their minimum knee angle will fall into place as well. So you do want to do the maximum knee angle first, and then you want to go into that saddle setback. In terms of the handlebars, this is probably also controversy as well. If you have new riders, those handlebar heights should be up. I hear all this all the time, to have the handlebars at the same height as the seat. You're asking a brand new rider who's never been on a spin bike to get into a low position. That's going to be quite dangerous for the back. If they're higher, they can just naturally have a better, longer spine. It's going to take the stress off that lower back. And then as they get more into riding, maybe they'll start to bring their handlebars down. Now, if you have a road rider from the outdoor world who comes in the indoor world, they are very comfortable having that handlebar sometimes lower than their seat, because that's normal in the outdoor world. but it's not normal in the indoor world. We have a lot of people who come to indoor cycling who have never actually been on an outdoor bike. So we want to marry the outdoor world of cycling and learn about the amazing things that the outdoor world of cycling can bring, and bring together the amazing world of group fitness and exercise to music. When you marry those two together, you're going to have a highly successful class. So I hope that answers any questions. I'm going to post this video. Feel free to comment below. I just wanted to do a quick share because it was a bit of a heated debate today, so I apologize. My purpose was definitely never to shame another instructor, but I just kind of got tired of somebody who had a lot of followings. And for the record, I did contact him and he wouldn't let me know where his certifications were from. So I did involve him in the conversation. But if you're going to post your content online, you need to make sure that your bike setup is proper, and you need to make sure that you're practicing safe things for riders. So I always ask the why. Keep adding tools to your toolbox. Thank you so much for being part of this Facebook group. I do protect it with my heart and soul because you guys are really important to me. And I'm just grateful to have all these experiences with everybody because, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about indoor cycling. So have a wonderful night or morning or afternoon, wherever you're at. And I teach at 6 a.m., so I'm going to head to bed. And my dog's already sleeping. So have a great night, everybody.